반짝이는 눈빛 눈이 부셔 매일 날 감싸주는 손길.
Yunseong, a naive and loyal daughter, had lived her entire life as a puppet in her mother's hands. She had no idea of the darkness lurking behind her family's past. It wasn't until she learned the painful truth that she discovered the role her mother Choi Myung-ji had played in the tragic deaths of many, including her real father. For years, Yunseong had been manipulated, kept in the dark, and used as a tool by her mother. She had been thought to believe that her mother's sacrifices and devotion were unmatched, that everything she did was for her. But the truth was far more sinister. Choi Myung-ji had killed Yunseong's father, and even worse, had orchestrated the death of Eugene through a hit and run. When Yunseong came face to face with these revelations, it shattered her world. She had been told that her father's death was an accident, but it was no accident at all. It was a cold, calculated act. And as if that wasn't enough, she learned that her mother had also killed her own husband decades ago to fulfill her own ambitions. Goo Ji-seok, a man who had been part of her life for some time, was the one to reveal these horrific truths. He tried to convince her that her mother's actions were far beyond what she had imagined. Goo Ji-seok had uncovered the twisted history of Yunseong's family and revealed how Choi Myung-ji had used her for years, manipulating her to take everything she could from others. Despite the shock and devastation, Yunseong couldn't bring herself to betray her mother. She had been raised to believe that her mother's love and sacrifices were everything. She clung to the idea that if she stood by her, she would be honoring the woman who had raised her alone, without her father. Yet as the truth continued to unfold, Yunseong began to realize that she had been nothing more than a pawn in her mother's ruthless game. Yunseong's world continued to spiral as she realized that the woman who had been her everything was the very same person responsible for the pain and loss in her life. Choi Myung-ji didn't just hurt others, she killed and manipulated her own family for her own gain. In the end, Choi Myung-ji chose the Hyesung group over her daughter, a betrayal that cut deeper than any knife. Yunseong, broken by her mother's decision, made a vow to stand against her. She joined Goo Ji-seok in his plan to expose everything, her mother's lies, her manipulations, and the deadly secrets she had buried. As Yunseong hardened, she made it clear that she would no longer be her mother's pawn. The trust and love she had once had for Choi Myung-ji crumbled into nothing, replaced with cold anger and a desire for justice. Now she was determined to make sure her mother paid for everything she had done. In the meantime, Choi Myung-ji, oblivious to the storm brewing around her, began to feel an unsettling change in the atmosphere. She sensed that something was amiss, but she couldn't quite grasp what it was. Little did she know the daughter she had controlled for so long was no longer the same person. Yunseong was ready to turn against her, and this time there would be no going back.
'Cause you are beautiful.